Hi, I'm Reshma McClintock. I am one of the co-founders of Family Preservation 365, along with my co-founder, Stephanie May Statz. Thank you for joining us today. At 365 Live, we are highlighting global activists and thought leaders working towards social change within and beyond the adoption community. Today, I'd like to introduce you to my friend Arun Dhole. Arun was adopted by a German couple from an Indian orphanage. He started to search for his roots in his late teens, and it took 17 years for him to obtain access to the desired information. Arun then gave up his job as a financial consultant while he dedicated his life to child's rights and correcting the injustice of intercountry adoption. So thank you for joining us today, Arun.
Yeah, welcome.
We're really excited to have you. We'll dive right in, and I'm just wondering if you can briefly explain to us the work that you do.
Basically, I do two things. One is working on children's rights, advocating for children's rights on a global level, and specifically with respect to the European level. And of course, as I'm adopted from India, in India. So we do litigation, and we expose also current child trafficking cases, child trafficking for adoption, not the black market only, but basically the legalized child trafficking. And the other thing which we do is assist, of course, adult adoptees with their searches in India.
Excellent. When you say legalized child trafficking, are you essentially meaning adoption, that you view adoption as legalized child trafficking?
The current system of intercountry adoption, which is under the Hague regime, I would call it, is it's a system of legalized child trafficking, yes. I mean,
Okay.
that normal adoptions where you approach an agency and go through the official channels, yes.
Okay, great. You touched on this a little bit, and I'm just hoping you can give us a little better understanding kind of the heart behind this for you. I know you as a very passionate person who works really hard, tirelessly, thanklessly, doing all of your work. And can you kind of explain to us what really inspired you to do this? What is the driving force behind everything that you do?
I mean, essentially, it was the simple question, who is my mother? And then finding out that actually adoption, what I thought to believe is adoption, isn't what I believed it to be. So when I went back to India and digged in India into the background of my own adoption and in the adoption of other adoptees, I found outright trafficking, kidnapping of children, fabrication of paperwork, lies, that mothers didn't actually really understand what adoption was. They didn't really consent. They didn't, if they consented, consented under duress. So this I consider trafficking. And then the next level was, of course, understanding that the children's rights, as enshrined in international law, the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child, are systematically violated. And that is not what I believed adoption to be. So that's what the injustice is the driving force.
So as you dug deeper in India and you found the coercion and the lack of understanding from these mothers, you were essentially were you shocked and outraged, and that kind of just all grew from that point?
Well, I was shocked, but not that much shocked about what happened in India. I was shocked about, and that at a later stage, that I thought I was naive. So I thought if I bring this information to, European authorities like the Netherlands or even US authorities or Australian authorities, the children are actually kidnapped, then I thought the authorities in the receiving countries would take appropriate action. So I wasn't that shocked to find that out, that there was something wrong. I was more shocked about the ignorance and the denial, let's say denial of the authorities in the receiving country. So that's what really shocked me and drives me.
Wow, that is fascinating to me, that you essentially uncovered this injustice and then you thought, of course, I'll take this and other people will feel my same outrage, right? And then they didn't. So that I can't imagine the frustration that you felt.
It wasn't just outrage. It was just, we grew up in the West, and you expect the West to be superior to India and to actually take appropriate action. And they didn't do it. They deny until today. For example, the children from Chennai were kidnapped to the United States, or the children from Chennai were kidnapped to India or Australia. or that children from Calcutta were trafficked via IMH to the United States. So there's a whole huge denial of that. And that is what actually drives me, the denial.
Okay, so can you, I'm sorry, I'm digging so much further into this because it's so fascinating and you articulate it so well, something that I think so many people don't understand. I know there are a lot of people who understand and are denying it, and then there's a lot of people who just have no clue even any of this exists. So can you explain just a little bit briefly to me, why do you think they're denying it? Does it all go back to money? Because we know adoption is incredibly lucrative. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. Do you believe that it ultimately has to do with money? Do you believe it has to do with a lack of understanding of how we could change it? What do you think the bottom line is there for the denial?
To be frank, I don't understand it. And the only explanation I have for it, it's about power. So it's about power, and it's about access to children, and it's about, I really don't understand it. I mean, as more as I dig into it, as less I understand why it is like that. Because it's not money. I mean, money, you can make money. I mean, of course, adoption is a lot of money. There's a lot of money involved, but that's not the, I mean, you can make money on the stock market much faster.
Interesting. Yeah. So I appreciate you explaining that a little bit about power and man's need for it. I want to know how other people can be involved in the good work that you're doing.
Mainly because we are a professional organization, so we work completely with full-time employed or paid people, and even I do that full-time. So the best way to get involved is help us raising funds or donate to our organizations, which basically we have 3 organizations. One is Against Child Trafficking USA, where you can donate to. Specifically, if you're American or from the United States, it's tax deductible. If you're based in Europe, you can donate to ACT Netherlands, Against Child Trafficking Netherlands, with the Dutch Foundation. And if you're based in India, we are registered now as Adoptee Rights Council, so you can actually donate and support the work of Adoptee Rights Council in India.
Excellent. Thank you for that information. As always, we'll provide all those links for donations later. Lastly, I just want to know, how can we connect with you online, Arun?
Basically, I'm on Facebook. So we have a website, Against Child Trafficking, Facebook page. I'm, as a private person, sort of on Facebook as Arun Dole. So that's the best way to connect. And otherwise, I mean, if you want to see more about our work, it's www.againstchildtrafficking.org. It's about the current work. If you're an adult adoptee and want to search, you go to www.adopteerightscouncil.org. And the best thing actually to communicate with me is via email, because the Facebook messages, sometimes I just miss them.
Oh, listen, I am in that same boat with you with Facebook Messenger. So thank you for all that information. And I just, on a personal note, as a fellow Indian adoptee, want to thank you for all the work you're doing. And I apologize, it chokes me up just a little bit, but it's so important for us to know our roots, to be connected to them. And I know that you have connected so many adopted people back to their families. You've worked so hard to trace their roots, and those connections that you've made are so powerful. And I just want to thank you so much for your work. And I can't even imagine the good work you'll continue to do. And hopefully 365 Live can shed some more light on that and help you guys grow and expand as you continue down this path. So thank you everyone for joining us today. We look forward to bringing you more interviews with more incredible people doing such good work at 365 Live in the future. Thanks.
Thank you.